Hiss. The moment the shuriken pierced through the air, there was a sharp sound of breaking wind mixed with the sound of air explosion. Two shurikens rushed towards Gaara in the air. Although the speed of the two shurikens is very fast, at the same time there is a faint whirling wind. However, this speed is not enough for Gaara to be unable to dodge. Leaning back, a shuriken scraped across his chest, followed by another, and Gaara turned and flipped. Equally easy to dodge. The two shurikens were successfully dodged, but the moment Gaara landed, there was a very loud cutting sound behind him. Zzz. The shuriken wrapped in wind style was in Baki's eyes and hit the wall. However, the wall looked like tofu in front of the shuriken, and it was easily cut. Swish. There was a roaring sound for a moment, and under the cutting of wind style chakra, the entire wall first seemed to be cut in half horizontally by a knife. Then another shuriken's hit, and there was another vertical knife. It was directly divided into 4 points, without any pause in the whole process. And after the shuriken cut through the wall and flew towards the outside of the wall, the next second it was bang bang bang. A series of roars suddenly sounded. Both Baki and Gaara turned their heads at the same time. They looked behind them. Bang bang. The wall collapsed, and with the splash of dust and smoke, Baki's eyes narrowed slightly. When the smoke dissipated, the picture that appeared in front of them in the next second made their brains instantly blank. Because looking outside, 5 or 6 houses in a row seemed to be cut crazily by knives. The houses that stretched for about 20 meters were all cut into pieces by the two shurikens just now. The house is slowly crumbling. Boom boom. Accompanied by the violent roar, the entire village, whether it was ninjas or civilians, was alarmed. And Gaara's heart is extremely shocked at this moment. It's just 2 shurikens, and they burst out with such power in his hands. At this moment, Baki also doesn't understand at all why. Also, as a ninja of wind attribute, he knows exactly what kind of strength is needed to unleash this kind of destructive wind style at will. Let's not talk about the amount of chakra. Without enough chakra, it is absolutely impossible to release this kind of ninjutsu. Secondly, if wind style nature transformation does not reach a certain height, it is absolutely impossible to have such an ability. Obviously Sasuke should be the Grandmaster's lightning style, but why is his wind style so scary? Where are you looking at? It's just a ninjutsu. Is it necessary to be so surprised? Sasuke's voice sounded like Shinigami's voice now behind Gaara. At this moment, sand has automatically gathered towards the back, trying to block Sasuke's attack. It was only at this time that Gaara came to his senses and immediately controlled all the controllable sand around him. Gather towards the back. Sasuke, however, was already in a punching stance. Directly hit the past fiercely with a punch. Now Sasuke's fist strength alone has reached more than 2,000 kilograms, plus the blessing of speed. There is also chakra who has improved to a higher level in the body, and the special ability of the Senju family, chakra explodes. Weird power. Fist. It exploded in an instant, and in an instant, the airflow was directly torn apart. A punch hit the sand shield fiercely, but at this moment Gaara could clearly feel his sand bursting open suddenly. Facing Sasuke's fist, his sand is simply unstoppable. JV. Suddenly Baki's voice sounded, and Baki, who appeared in front of Gaara quickly, opened his hands to block Gaara's front. Bang bang. A punch landed on Baki's body. Click. Broken bones, sunken chest, and a lot of blood spewed out of Baki's mouth. Swish. The two collided fiercely, and were blasted away like cannonballs. Do everything. The black shadows that flashed across the air slammed into the houses one after another directly and fiercely, but they rammed through them continuously without slowing down at all. A series of dust and smoke floated up and flew directly to the center of Sanagakure. And the straight line distance of this road is about 100 meters. Sasuke slowly came to the edge of the destroyed wall. Look at Sanagakure in front of you. Following the smoke, he looked towards the landing point of Gaara and others. This is a punch I broke out with all my strength, and its power is not bad. The corners of Sasuke's mouth raised slightly. Such strength is nothing to worry about. Now the ninjas who are qualified to fight with him, the entire ninja world is probably just a handful. Swish swish. While Sasuke was thinking, one after another black shadows emerged from all directions of Sanagakure. At the same time, the yellow sand all over the sky seemed to have finally subsided at this time. The sun shines through the clouds in Sanagakure. And the first person to bathe in this sunshine is Sasuke. In the brilliant light, Sasuke stood on the edge, looking at everyone around with an extremely calm expression. It seems interesting to challenge the entire ninja village alone. Sasuke smiled and raised his head again for an instant. The eyes became more piercing, then come to. Sanagakure, let's see if you can stop me now. Those eyes. Are they Sharingan? That face. This guy seems to be Konoha's S-rank Uchiha Sasuke. Damn it. When did it invade the village? Is his target Gaara? Was it Gaara who was sent flying? Bastard. How dare you destroy Sanagakure like this? What is Konoha's traitorous ninja coming to us, Sanagakure? Are you courting death? Seeing the surrounding sand shinobi getting more and more excited, Sasuke didn't intend to say anything more to these sand shinobi. One-handed. Jiin. Since it's Sanagakure, let's say hello with wind-style ninjutsu first. Chakra. Exploded in Sasuke's body instantly. The instantly condensed and explosive chakra shakes the surrounding air, and the formed air shock wave spreads instantly. The strong wind blows the yellow sand towards these sand shinobi. However, after spreading, the power is not too strong. It just made these sand shinobi squint their eyes, but it was just such a moment. Sasuke took a deep breath. The two-level wind attribute nature transformation, combined with the power contained in Sasuke's chakra today. The explosive ninjutsu has completely produced a qualitative change. Wind style. Wind. Storm. Gathering in Sasuke's mouth, the chakra boiling in his body at this moment is like a volcanic eruption. In the next second, Sasuke exhaled in one breath. Suddenly erupted in an instant, but a C-level ninjutsu erupted at this moment with a power far exceeding that of a C-level ninjutsu. Boom. As the storm swept across, the sun suddenly blasted towards these sand shinobi like an air cannon. They haven't reacted to the strong storm that will hit them in the next second. The terrifying impact contained directly makes these sand shinobi feel like they have been hit hard. One after another, sand shinobi were directly knocked out. Several houses close to Sasuke collapsed in an instant. Buzz buzz. The storm enveloped the entire Sanagakure almost instantly, and the disappearing wind and sand seemed to reappear suddenly. However, when the storm swept far away, its power would be much smaller. When the yellow sand was sweeping, Sasuke squeezed his fist lightly. The battle begins. Now let's look at the so-called sand shinobi with the strongest overall quality. How strong is it? The moment the voice fell, a cloud of chakra erupted directly under Sasuke's feet. Sasuke seemed to be ejected. At the moment when the yellow sand covered his eyes and couldn't see clearly, Sasuke's Sharingan accurately locked on the figure of a sand shinobi. Punch. Bombard the opponent fiercely. Boom. Accompanied by a fierce roar, the ground suddenly collapsed. Sasuke raised his head with blood on his fist, staring forward with a pair of scarlet eyes. First. The next second, the figure disappeared again. But this time the roar sounded in the dust and smoke was even more terrifying. A sound like a bomb explosion appeared. Thump, 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 and the sound continued in the dust and smoke. The sand shinobi, who fell to the ground and were thrown, haven't realized why the wind style just now is so powerful. He was immediately startled by the sound of bombardment coming from around him one after another. Standing in the wind and sand, with a visual distance of no more than 2 meters, they couldn't see what was happening around them at all. Fortunately, Sasuke's wind style only lasted a dozen seconds. Wait until 10 seconds pass. When the wind and sand dissipated and the dust and smoke receded. There are large and small potholes on the surrounding ground, and there are nearly 100 bodies of sand shinobi lying down. A Jonin looked at his companion who was hit by something at a distance, and his chest was sunken, and stared at him with wide eyes. His breath has completely disappeared. Seeing such a picture, even Jonin was dumbfounded. How long has it been? How did it become like this? What happened just now? Suddenly, a scream sounded in the distance. Bang bang. A ninja flew upside down, smashed through the wall in an instant, and fell directly into the house. Looking from the direction the opponent flew over, Sasuke gently shook his hands. He looked at Sand Shinobi who was still standing around with a flat expression. It's not that good either. Didn't Sand Shinobi be said to be the ninja village with the strongest overall quality? You guys are too weak. Killed hundreds of them in 10 seconds, but you still look like you are too weak. This made the fear in the eyes of the remaining Sand Shinobi turn into anger. So bullying. Invading Sanagakure, it is so arrogant because of wanton destruction. Does this guy really think he is invincible? So what if it is the Uchiha clan? No matter how strong you are only one person. Can you really beat Sanagakure by yourself? Absolutely impossible. Even with the whole Konoha, if you want to crush Sanagakure, you will have to break a few teeth. Cheer up, this intruder must be caught. Konoha's S-rank rebellious ninja is now invading our Sanagakure. It's just one person. If he runs away like this, we, Sanagakure, will be disgraced and thrown home. Finally, Sand shinobi with good prestige stood up, and other sand shinobi responded one after another. The sonorous and powerful voices joined together. The momentum is extraordinary. Although Sasuke killed a lot of people in the outbreak just now, but for the entire Sanagakure, there are only 100 people, which is not worth mentioning at all. Now it is in the stage of closing the village, and the number of ninjas gathered in the village is already terrifying. The sand shinobi who sprung up like mushrooms glared at Sasuke one by one. Sasuke looked around, and probably took a look. Not bad. At least 3,000 to 5,000 people. It's not considered invisible from a distance, and such a quantity makes me a little excited. Sasuke looked at the gathered ninjas, getting ready to do it. Suddenly a team of sand shinobi jumped out. Suppress him first. Yes. This group of ninjas should be Sanagakure's regular garrison. The momentum is a little different. At the same time, their tacit understanding is also very good, and they started to seal at the same time as soon as they heard the order. X55 of the same fire style erupted instantly, and the flame shockwave formed was very violent. Sasuke glanced at the hand seal on his left hand. Earth style, earth flow wall. Boom. The earth style at hand can easily block the mixed impact of 5 fire styles, and the thermal shockwave generated at the moment of impact is swept away like a wave. However, the earth flow wall in front of the flame did not move at all, not only blocked the attack, but also seemed that such an attack was completely worthless. This guy. Any sand shinobi who has a little insight, now knows what Sasuke's casual posture and the fire style that easily blocked the joint release of the 5 ninjas meant. This shows that Sasuke's earth style not only knows but also is very strong, even more frightening than ninjas who specialize in earth style. Wind style, beast wave palm. X7 The 7 sand shinobi behind also took advantage of this moment to attack with ninjutsu. The ninjutsu released by the 7 people jointly formed a dense number of wind blades, and the power was not much worse than the S-level ninjutsu. However, in such a situation where many people bully few people. While Sasuke didn't care at all, Sasuke's right hand also formed a mudra, and the second ninjutsu was ready in less than a second. Wind style, wind blade. Raise your fingertips to point at a few sand shinobi, and swipe gently. The invisible wind blade that erupted in an instant seemed to cut off the air directly, and swept straight towards the 7 people. Compared to Baki's behavior of covering the wind blade with a whirlwind, Sasuke exploded directly, without any cover at all. Just raise your hand and accuse. Next second. Blood erupted and formed a straight line in the air, instantly defeating and teaming up to cast wind style, beast wave palm. Even with 7 sand shinobi, a deep bloody mouth appeared on the chest at the same time. Blood surges. Boom. Wind style Hefeng's collision. Fire style and earth style collide. A dozen ninjas released ninjutsu almost simultaneously to attack Sasuke. However, he was suppressed by Sasuke alone. This completely stunned sand shinobi Jonin, who was in charge of conducting. Continue. Quick, continue to suppress him with ninjutsu. I don't believe, absolutely don't believe, that one person can stop a group of us. Impossible, absolutely impossible. The sand shinobi who were a little dazed after hearing the order cheered up one after another. Although the guy's voice was not loud, Sasuke could still hear it clearly. Want to come and have a ninjutsu fight with me? Then let's try it. Let's see who loses first. Sasuke is also eager to try this kind of battle. Now that Chakra, who has fully upgraded to a level of nature transformation, can break out what kind of power. Sand shinobi. Water style, big waterfall technique, ×6. Sasuke withdrew his hands and still formed a mudra with one hand, earth style, earth flow dahe. In an instant, the mud flow that rolled up in front of Sasuke instantly expanded to the same scale as the great waterfall technique where 6 people teamed up. Beep. The 2 sides hit each other. Sasuke couldn't wait for the impact to end, and turned around to look at the other side. Sand shinobi. Lightning style, walk. ×3 Sasuke. Wind style, vacuum daidama. Boom. Sand shinobi. Earth style, ×8 Sasuke. Lightning style, discharge. Crackling. The moment the black thunder erupted, all the sand shinobi were stunned. Looking at the black thunder that seemed to fall from the sky, it instantly smashed through the rock pillars. In the end, the 8 earth-style sand shinobi were instantly killed easily. Sasuke, who held the black thunder in his hand, burst out a series of black thunder from his body. Watching Sasuke fight them with ninjutsu one after another. What's even more amazing is that Sasuke actually used ninjutsu to restrain the relationship, and one person really resisted so many of their sand shinobi's joint attacks. One-handed mudra releases 2 ninjutsu at the same time. Such unparalleled chakra control ability makes people dumbfounded. Fire style. Fire dragon explosion technique. Boom. In the last fire style, Sasuke directly drained all the chakra in his body almost instantly. So much so that Sasuke staggered a little. But it doesn't matter the super fast recovery ability. Let Sasuke take a few breaths, and chakra becomes full again. And this blow of fire style completely frightened the surrounding sand shinobi. Almost instantly engulfed hundreds of sand shinobi around. The flames engulfed the surrounding sand shinobi like Uzumaki. Under the eruption of terrifying and violent flames, the surrounding buildings were instantly razed to the ground. In the blink of an eye, all the buildings within 100 meters disappeared. It was directly destroyed by the terrifying high-temperature flame. What a terrible fire style. What kind of flame is this? A sand shinobi, himself a grandmaster fire style, couldn't help but marvel. How is such a fire style possible? To what height must the chakra nature transformation be raised to burst out such a powerful flame? I can't figure it out, and I can't figure it out at all. What steps should be taken to reach this level? Damn it. Since ninjutsu is no match, use taijutsu. Sand shinobi, who served as the temporary commander, has decided to change tactics. Hastily assembled more than 100 ninjas who had released the Grandmaster's ninjutsu, but failed to suppress Sasuke. If it continues like this, it is obvious that Sasuke cannot be taken down. Then use taijutsu to suppress him, and then let the ninja of the Grandmaster seal technique go up and capture Sasuke. Gymnastics. Sasuke laughed. These people still want to use physical skills to suppress themselves. Court death. He grabbed the Kusanagi sword at his waist with his backhand, but after thinking about it, it seemed that the Kusanagi sword was not needed to deal with these guys. Simply let go. Sasuke clenched his fists lightly, raised his eyes and looked at the 30 or so elite sand shinobi physical skills gathered in front of him with a very disdainful gaze. Superior. With an order, all sand shinobi rushed forward. Although sand shinobi has the advantage in numbers, if they rush forward without a plan, they will inevitably accidentally injure their own people. But for Sasuke, this kind of attack is completely in vain. Powerful strength, terrifying physical skills, and Sharingan's insight. The next picture makes people feel creepy. Sasuke stood where he was, without any significant displacement. But even under such circumstances, the rushing sand shinobi was still vulnerable, and Sasuke's random punch could directly kill a sand shinobi in seconds. And the exquisite movement connection makes Sasuke's movements seem not to be too fast, but it seems to be full of artistry. Like dancing in a crowd. After 10 breaths, Sasuke stood on the spot and casually threw sand shinobi, the last Grandmaster body art, aside like trash. Stand still and clap your hands. Looking at sand shinobi who is in charge of the command in the distance. After dealing with these people, Sasuke didn't even catch his breath. Stared at by Sasuke, sand shinobi Jonin, who was in charge of conducting, couldn't stop shaking completely. Ninjutsu, Taijutsu. He can't do anything about it. This kid, he's actually a Grandmaster 5 sense ninjutsu. And the attainments of every kind of ninjutsu are completely above us. How did this guy do it? At such an age, where did he spend so much time and cultivate so many people at the same time? Call. A gust of cold wind blew, and suddenly the scene in front of Jonin changed slightly. A shuriken was flying straight towards him. And there were other hidden weapons scattered in the air, but these hidden weapons were easily cut off by this shuriken. Above. Has wind-style chakra. ZZZ spin the shuriken in the air, and the wind-style chakra above makes a screeching noise. But now the Jonin froze. He didn't see it at all just now. If it wasn't for the sound getting closer and closer, he might not even notice it until he died. For a split second he stared at Sasuke with wide eyes. This brat is nothing short of a devil. Ninjutsu can crush hundreds of people with ease, physical skills are also impeccable, and he also has Sharingan. He can not only use illusion. But illusion is so powerful. Taijutsu, ninjutsu, genjutsu, he is grandmaster of them all. Is this Konoha's genius ninja? No wonder he was able to become Konoha's S-rank rebel at the age of 12. This kind of strength is probably no less than Konoha's Hokage. And to reach this level, he was only 12 years old. Konoha's genius is simply unbelievable. Swish. Accompanied by the sound of flesh being cut, blood gushes out at the same time. The blood flower burst in the air. Boom boom boom. The 3 houses were instantly cut off by the wind-style shuriken. The house collapsed, and Sand Shinobi Jonin, who was in charge of the command, also fell to the ground at the same time. Poof. The bloody head rolled slowly on the ground. The body was already lying quietly on the ground, bleeding continuously. Shock. Countless Sand Shinobi were stunned. Standing there blankly, watching their Jonin motionless. This adult's strength in the village is considered to be upper, and because of his ability to command, his status is not considered low. It's just a little bit ahead of Mr. Baki, but today was easily killed by a kid with a single ninjutsu. This. Why didn't he drive more just now? Why did you just stand there and not move, as if staring at something? What is going on? Even they reacted and used hidden weapons to block the enemy's attack, but he remained motionless. It's an illusion. My lord has fallen into an illusion, said the group. Is this guy even so terrifying in illusion? The illusion that even Jonin can't see through is not something ordinary illusion ninjas can do. And during the period of performing the illusion, Sasuke was unable to launch ninjutsu attacks. This shows that the opponent's chakra control has reached a state that ordinary people can't understand at all. Don't forget that he is a member of the Uchiha clan, and those Sharingans have a terrifying ability to release illusions. It's my idea not to look into his eyes lightly. Now these sand shinobi are completely suppressed by the aura of Sasuke alone. With so many casualties, there is nothing they can do to get Sasuke. I am afraid that the price to be paid to catch Sasuke is not ordinary. At this moment, Sasuke looked around, and these sand shinobi were already timid. For a guy who doesn't even have courage, Sasuke doesn't have the slightest desire to do anything. Start looking for Gaara's location. At this moment, Gaara, who is holding Baki, looks at the teacher lying in her arms covered in blood. Although Gaara's feelings are usually hidden in his heart, he is very grateful to Baki. If it weren't for Baki's full support, he wouldn't be able to get the current treatment, and as Jinchuriki, he would inherit Sand Shinobi's position of Kazekage. Although it hasn't been officially confirmed yet, as long as Gaara's strength improves, becoming 5th Kazekage is a sure thing. Under such circumstances, Gaara's affection for Baki is extraordinary. It's just that Gaara is not good at expressing, but when she is not good at expressing, the person she cares about now dies in front of her, in her arms. Gaara's gaze at this second is very scary, it's like eating people. Gaara, his chest was completely collapsed, and Baki, whose internal organs had been completely crushed, was now continuously gushing blood from his mouth. Staring at Gaara in front of him, his time was running out. Sand Shinobi, please, before the last word was finished, Baki was out of breath. Desperation, anger, sadness, all kinds of emotions came to my heart. At this moment, Gaara seemed to see one-tail Shuhei. Do you want to go out? Shukaku didn't speak yet, but Gaara suddenly raised his head to look at it. The moment he saw Gaara's gaze, Shuhei was stunned for a moment, and then laughed. Boy. Do you want revenge? Gaara didn't say a word, just looked at Shuzuru like this. Shuhei frowned. Boy, it seems that you were really angry this time. Then let me help you once, you can use my power as you like, but there is one thing, you must defeat that guy. After the words fell, Gaara opened his eyes again, and the dead Baki was still in front of him. But the sand floating in the air seemed to be a little different in his perception. Found it. Suddenly there was a smell of blood. Sasuke stood on the roof not far away, looking at Gaara and Baki lying in the ruins below. Resisting my full blow, he is not bad, Sasuke said lightly. Gaara suddenly raised her head, staring at Sasuke fiercely. The bloody light that erupted in his eyes was extremely intense. Murderous look. It exploded on Gaara's body. In an instant, a cloudy wind swept past, and the temperature of the air seemed to drop by more than 10 degrees. Sand Shinobi who followed around saw Sasuke's figure. Immediately started shouting. Quick! That guy is here, absolutely can't let him go, can't let him continue in Sanagakure. The words have not yet finished. Sasuke didn't move his head, and raised his fingertips to burst out a black lightning bolt. Leighton, discharge. Crack. The black thunder that swept out in an instant directly hit this guy's heart. Violent thunder ran through his body. Sand Shinobi. Pawn. Sasuke stared blankly at Gaara in front of him. This look is very good now, so you can make me a little bit more excited. Hear Sasuke's words. The corners of Gaara's mouth trembled slightly, and the veins on his face burst out. Immediately afterwards, a wave of red chakra spread out. It was as if chakra was flowing red with blood. The fluctuations caused by chakra suddenly accelerated the surrounding airflow a lot. Sasuke froze for a moment. Tail Beast Chakra Garment? Gaara actually took control of One Tail's chakra? Sand gathers around Gaara. Feeling the current chakra fluctuation of Gaara, Sasuke frowned. It's not just as simple as controlling the Tail Beast chakra, it's like merging into one. Sasuke smiled. It seems that in Gaara's body, One Tail Shuhei has reached agreement with Gaara's will. The current Gaara is equivalent to the perfect Jinchuriki. Can perfectly grasp the power of the tailed beast. And such words. Just right. Only the power of the perfect Jinchuriki can make Sasuke fully serious. Uchiha Sasuke, I will never let you go. Gaara's voice became low and hoarse, revealing a strong meaning of killing. And looking at the murderous Gaara, Sasuke also finally felt a little pressure. What if it's one tail plus you? You're not far off. Gaara. Crackling. Black lightning fell from the sky on Sasuke's body, instantly turning into countless tiny thunder snakes and swimming wildly on Sasuke's body. Zzz. On. The black thunder shines again. A smile rose on Sasuke's face, and then the thunder and lightning gathered in Sasuke's hands. Chidori's voice sounded instantly. Now you can make me a little more serious. Sasuke's words made Gaara, as well as the Sand Shinobi present, suddenly condense their hearts. Could it be that this guy has never been serious since just now? They don't know whether what Sasuke said is true, but at this moment, the lightning in Sasuke's hand erupts. At the same time, the figure turned into a black lightning and disappeared instantly. Crackling. Lightning style, lightning fast lightning. After upgrading to the 3rd level of chakra nature transformation, Sasuke's use of lightning style not only strengthens the power, but what is even more amazing is that the speed at which Sasuke releases lightning style becomes faster. Chidori seems to be able to condense in an instant, and it may be due to the enhancement of physical fitness. Sasuke took advantage of the speed of the lightning burst to raise another level. The current speed is probably 3 points faster than 4th Raikage. Moment. Black thunder flashed. An extremely irregular route was drawn in the air from the roof, and it circled directly behind Gaara. Sora Commander's assistant held Chidori and stabbed Gaara at the back of the wolf. The Chidori's roar sounded behind Gaara in an instant. At this time, even if he heard the voice, he had no time to think and react. Can only be stunned in place. Bang bang. The roar sounded, and Gaara felt the terrifying impact behind him, causing his body to slide forward for a distance of more than 10 meters before suddenly stopping. Steady on his feet, turned back and turned around, he didn't even know what was going on. However, he didn't see just now, but Sasuke clearly saw it. One tail. Show crane. At the moment just now, Chakra who guarded the crane blocked Sasuke's attack, and at the same time manipulated the sand to form a defense. The sand defense power integrated into the tailed beast Chakra is indeed amazing. It even seems to have a suppressing effect on Chakra, because the sand is covered with lines like those on Shuhei's body. Sealing technique. Sasuke frowned. Crack. Accelerating again, the black thunder flashed through the air again. Sasuke appeared directly in front of Gaara. Gaara, who just raised her head, has not yet seen the person in front of her clearly. Boom. A kick was directly kicked by Sasuke, but it has 2 defenses of sand and tail beast chakra. Gaara's eyes went black. The figure was violently kicked away again, but the body just flew into the air. He didn't control his body to the ground at all, and the next second he suffered another heavy blow to his abdomen. At the same time, a black light flashed past. Next up is boom boom boom. Thunder and lightning flickered wildly, and Sasuke's figure seemed to turn into a black flash, flickering and jumping constantly. He appeared only for a brief moment at a time, and then burst into attack again. Just let Gaara be bombarded like crazy. Even the sand shinobi on the side are staring at the picture in front of them with dumbstruck eyes. They want to help but don't know how to help. This is what ninjutsu? So fast, this guy's fast. Black lightning style. Why does this guy use black lightning style? It is rumored that Cloud Shinobi Village 3rd Raikage once developed a black lightning style. Is this the one? Sand shinobi are now not only surprised by Sasuke's terrifying speed, but also very surprised by Sasuke's black lightning style. You must know that in their impression, they have never seen a black lightning style. This is the first time they have seen such a peculiar lightning style. At the same time, the terrifying power of this black lightning style is also very shocking. Sand shinobi, who was hit by the black lightning style just now, was directly pierced through the chest, almost instant kill. With such a terrifying power, it is hard to imagine how terrible the attack Gaara is facing now. Shuzuru. Gaara, cheer me up. If this goes on, I can't hold on anymore. Even with the defense of sand and the protection of the tail beast chakra, it can't withstand this continuous attack. Gaara is very helpless now. Of course I wanted to cheer up, but he was so fast, I couldn't react. Beyond the speed of reaction, Sasuke's current speed is indeed amazing. Shuhei was a little speechless. Why did he find such an idiot Jinchuriki? Stupid. You can't beat him in speed, so let's just stand there and use a wide-range attack to deal with him. Large-scale attack? But in this way, Sanagakure. Idiot. If you let him go on fighting like this, I won't be able to stand it, so you can get better. If the village is destroyed, it can be rebuilt. If you lose, you will die. Hearing this, Gaara gritted her teeth lightly. It is good. At the end of the conversation, Gaara put his palms together in the air. Concentrate the chakra of the whole body while fusing the chakra of the tailed beast. A stream of sand surged up on the ground to entangle himself, and immediately after that, a sandball was formed in the blink of an eye. It is covered with patterns on the body of Shuzuru. Sasuke stopped. Sasuke knew this trick very well. It was Gaara's defensive trick, used in the original Chunin exam. But now with the pattern of guarding the crane, the defense will become stronger. At the same time, it also has the ability to counterattack. I am afraid to attack rashly. The black lightning style on Sasuke's body also dissipated when he stopped. Immediately afterwards, an eye of sand condensed above the sandball. Gaara caught Sasuke's figure, finally showing a smile on his face. Now, it's my turn to attack you, Sasuke. I'm thinking about trying to see how the sandball's defense is. But hearing Gaara's words, Sasuke smiled faintly. It is your turn. Hehe. It's still early. It's not your turn yet, Chidori. The black lightning instantly condensed. The next second Sasuke raised his hand almost without any gap. Sharp gun. Swish. The blasted laser hit Gaara's sandball directly. The boom sounded. The black thunder kept hitting the sandball, but it didn't break through. This defense is indeed amazing. After the tailed beast's chakra is fused with the sand, its power is not comparable to what it was before. Right. In a sense, the tailed beast chakra is the energy condensed from the absorption of natural energy by the sacred tree. Of course it is different from ordinary people's chakra. At the same time, the strange pattern of Shuhei seems to have a suppressive effect on ninjutsu-type attacks. If it is like this, then if you want to break this tortoise shell, you have to use the most violent means. If it is necessary to use violent means, then there is no need to use ninjutsu. The strength of one tail's crane defense is very strong for ninjutsu, or it is very resistant to chakra. But if it's physical skills, then it's not necessarily so. Sasuke slowly closed his eyes, followed by the moment he opened them again. Sanguyu turned quickly. Quickly form a new pattern. Mangekyo Sharingan. Open. Sasuke who opens the Mangekyo Sharingan, the power goes up to a higher level, and the control of chakra increases the insight. At the same time, with the blessing of the super insight of the special pupil technique, Sasuke can even observe the opponent's next attack. And subtle changes. When seeing Sasuke's eyes, Gaara was a little surprised. These eyes look so weird. Shuzuru. This is Mangekyo Sharingan, the blood successor of the Uchiha clan. Opening these eyes is equivalent to having a power king comparable to a cage-level ninja. Saying that, Shuhei also had a solemn face. Boy, don't be careless. These eyes are very strong, and the Uchiha clan who usually activates Mangekyo Sharingan all have special pupil skills, so be extremely careful. Pupil surgery. Gaara also wanted to ask what pupil art is. At this time, Shukaku had already urged Gaara, hurry up, he hasn't started to act yet, let's take action. Use a large-scale attack, strike first. It is said that Gaara can't care so much anymore. Put your hands together directly to condense the chakra. At the same time, the surrounding sand shinobi also noticed Sasuke's Mangekyo at this moment. This is... what eyes? Never seen anyone's eyes change in such a strange pattern. Unbelievable. The young sand shinobi are very curious about Sasuke's Mangekyo, but some older sand shinobi are very serious now. This is the Mangekyo Sharingan of the Uchiha clan. How is it possible? He opened these eyes. It is rumored that once the Uchiha clan activates the Mangekyo Sharingan, it will have a fighting power comparable to Hokage. Hearing the words of the older sand shinobi, the younger sand shinobi looked to Sasuke. Just now he didn't even use Mangekyo and he already made us helpless. Now that Mangekyo Sharingan is activated, doesn't it mean? Just talking about this already makes people feel extremely uneasy. The current Uchiha Sasuke is really serious. This guy is obviously only Genin's age, but now alone makes the entire Sanagakure helpless. This sense of powerlessness made the sand shinobi tremble uncontrollably. Who can deal with this monster? Boom. Suddenly, they felt panic in their hearts. Sand. The sand all over the sky swept in and quickly wrapped up from the outskirts of the village. The giant sand ball directly appeared and completely enveloped the entire Sanagakure. At the same time, it keeps shrinking. The light in the sky gradually dimmed, and when the sand ball was completely formed, the entire Sanagakure was completely shrouded in it. What's wrong? Sand? Enveloping the whole village? Is this Gaara? Now Gaara is the only person in Sanagakure who can control the sand. All the sand shinobi looked in the direction of Gaara one after another, but of course the Gaara sand shinobi who were also wrapped in sandballs couldn't see it at all. I don't know what's going on with Gaara now. Although the entire Sanagakure was covered by sand, the light became dim instantly. But as the sand shinobi light the fire, the flames illuminate the entire Sanagakure. Sasuke then looked in Gaara's direction with the faint firelight. Is this a plan to never die with me? Gaara will not give you any chance to escape. Assault sand shinobi, kill my teacher Baki, Uchiha Sasuke. You are destined to stay in Sanagakure today. Not bad awareness. Sasuke smiled and opened his mouth to say something. But in the next second, a large amount of sand swept from the sky and fell from the sky in an instant. Sasuke looked up suddenly. The shrinkage of the pupils. After merging with the tailed beast chakra, the amount of control of the sand is also completely. It's too much. The sand, almost enough to cover the entire Sanagakure, instantly turned into a storm and swept towards Sasuke crazily. Moreover, the range is so large that Sasuke has no room to dodge at all. At the same time, not only above the head, streams of quicksand emerged from all directions at almost the same time, sweeping towards Sasuke. It seems that this is the intention to trap Sasuke here. Even if you use lightning and stone fire, no matter how fast you are, you will still have to step over the area covered by these sands. Once it touches these sands, it will be sensed by Gaara at the first time, and it is not a problem to trap Sasuke with sand immediately. Sasuke smiled helplessly. A good idea, to deal with fast enemies, a wide range of attacks is the best choice. Now Sasuke has two choices, either directly break through the sand with a stronger attack, or choose a temporary defense. But look at the patterns similar to those of Shukaku emerging on the sand. It is not so simple to break through these sands. Unless Sage Mode is turned on and Susanoo is added, it can probably be done. But Sasuke is now going to use physical skills to deal with I Love Luo. After all, he has completed the upgrade task by the way. So it is best for Sasuke to temporarily defend first. Earth Style. Earth Flow Wall. Sasuke formed a mudra with one hand, and quickly spit out the soil around, and then the soil instantly rose and surrounded Sasuke to form a circle of rock defense. This is the first layer. Immediately after this, Sasuke's second ninjutsu was ready, and he looked up. Water Style, Water Barrier. Boom. Sand is most afraid of water flow, so water style defense is not bad. But that's not enough. The water flow swept out, and this time Sasuke basically disappeared in the field of vision of these sand shinobi. While spraying water, Sasuke suddenly raised his hand and clapped his hands lightly. Relying on earth style and water style alone may not be able to withstand the impact of this level of sandstorm. But wood style, there is no problem. But wood style Sasuke doesn't want to let these people find out casually. At this moment, Shuhei was roaring excitedly. See, Gaara, this guy is only defensive now. Seize the opportunity and get rid of him at once. Seal him. Directly. The veins on Gaara's head are popping out one after another now. For a split second, Gaara and Shukura simultaneously, crazily broke out into chakra. The incomparably thick chakra fluctuations swept out instantly. A large amount of sand rolled up, compressed crazily, and continuously gathered toward Sasuke. At this moment, the sand shinobi around were dumbfounded. When have you seen such a scene, such a huge amount of sand? It was like a monstrous wave formed by sand, sweeping past and even bringing down many Sanagakure houses in an instant. When did Gaara become so strong? Due to the protection of the sandball, Gaara enclosed herself in the sandball. Sand shinobi can't see what Gaara looks like now. They didn't know that the reason why Gaara was able to erupt such a force was because he was able to completely control the forces guarding the town. And Shuhei is willing to cooperate with him. Under such circumstances, such an astonishing power can be erupted. The sweeping sand submerged Sasuke in the blink of an eye, forming a huge pyramid shape at the same time. At the same time, with the blessing of the curse seal script on Shuhei's body, the suppression ability of the pyramid is further strengthened. Gaara pressed her hands hard on the ground, directly injecting power into the pyramid through the sand on the ground. The great burial seal of the desert layer. Boom. A strange roar sounded, as the curse marks on Shuhei's body climbed up the pyramid. For a while, everything seemed to be quiet. At this time, Sasuke has been severely suppressed by the sand from all directions in the pyramid formed by the accumulation of sand. At the same time, Sasuke was also surprised by the suppressing force that the sand had on chakra in his body. Although it had been expected, it was not expected that the effect of the seal would be so amazing. It's truly one tail. The spell seal script on one tail can strengthen the seal effect. Although Shuhei's strength is not very good, this unique ability is the only one among tailed beasts. Even with wood style's protection, Sasuke seems to be struggling to escape. At this moment, Gaara, who came out of the sandball, looked at the pyramid in front of him, panting heavily. Did it work? Hearing this, Shuhei was a little unhappy. Of course it succeeded. Do you think my uncle's power is just a joke? A mere kid from the Uchiha clan, as long as I use my power reasonably, I can easily suppress it. Gaara felt uneasy and wanted to step forward to strengthen some seals. Suddenly, deafening cheers came from all around. Sand shinobi. Shocked, they looked at Gaara in front of them, and at Chakra, the tail beast that gradually receded from Gaara. It seems that it can be retracted freely, it is simply unbelievable. Gaara seems to have perfectly controlled the tailed beast. And it also erupted with such amazing power. Such a magnet style, even the former 4th Kazekage-sama couldn't achieve it. A sand shinobi couldn't help but marvel. And the companion on the side nodded. Yes, you were right, in a blink of an eye. The sand is controlled to block Sanagakure, and it also unleashes such an amazingly powerful attack. Sealing that Uchiha kid who is comparable to Hokage-level combat power in a blink of an eye. This is indeed not something that Lord 4th Kazekage can do. Gaara's magnet style probably surpasses that of 3rd Kazekage-sama. I'm afraid it's because of the one tail guarding the crane in my body. Whether it's because of one tail Shokuru or not, the current Gaara can control the tail beast chakra freely. Our sand shinobi has a talent that is more terrifying than Uchiha and Konoha. As we talked, sand shinobi seem to be getting more and more excited. A look of joy and joy. It seems that they have completely forgotten how scared they were in the last second. Trembling under Sasuke's power, but now getting carried away. And Gaara looked at these sand shinobi all around, heard them cheering, and heard them shouting their names. Gaara felt a little unbelievable for a while. He has never been accepted and felt full of warmth like now. Master Gaara, please inherit the position of 5th Kazekage. That's right, Master Gaara. You are the person who is most qualified to inherit the 5th Hokage in Sanagakure now. Only under the blessing of your power, Sanagakure can continue to gain a foothold in the ninja world. One by one sand shinobi knelt before Gaara. Now sand shinobi has more than just joy, and even a part of sand shinobi has begun to imagine, under the leadership of such a powerful Kazekage-sama. It's time to defeat Konoha, defeat the other 5 major ninja villages, and push Sanagakure to become the strongest ninja village in the ninja world. There has never been any Kazekage who can possess as much power as Gaara. If I love Luo Cheng as Kazekage, then Sanagakure will surely rise. Even Konoha's pervert genius kid, Uchiha Sasuke, was instantly killed by Gaara. If Gaara grows for a period of time, it will definitely become the strongest wind in the future. Suddenly an even more astonishing chakra wave erupted. Suddenly the pyramid cracked. The moment they heard the roar, the excited sand shinobi turned their heads. The expression on his face changed rapidly again. They looked at the cracked pyramid, and felt the continuous explosion of breath in the pyramid. The terrifying aura seemed to be continuously increasing like a volcanic eruption. Being able to suppress chakra doesn't mean being able to suppress my power. Under the defense formed by wood style, Sasuke will not be directly sealed so that he cannot be touched. But it is not that simple to break through the seal. Fortunately, there is some room for Sasuke to play a little bit. While the sand shinobi outside were full of praise for Gaara, Sasuke was preparing to use Konoha's forbidden body art. 8th gate, Dunjia. The first door, open the door open. 2nd gate, Shu gate, open. 3rd gate, Shengmen, open. 4th gate, Injury gate, open. 5th gate, Du gate, open. Opening the 5th gate in one breath, Sasuke opened his eyes, and now the skin of his whole body has completely turned blood red. At the same time, the green light radiated from his body, and the rising aura made even Sasuke's light breath become extremely heavy. Does this mean I'm done? It's too early to celebrate, Gaara. Sasuke said, looking up at the sky, 5 feet down. Bang bang. With a loud bang, the seal jointly cast by Gaara and Shuhei was broken. Opening the 5th gate, the power that erupted in one breath directly caused the great burial seal of the desert layer that Gaara had spent all his strength to display to be instantly broken. The sand piled up into the pyramids collapsed directly. It began to fall crazily towards the surroundings. As a result, the sand shinobi who gathered here began to flee crazily. Only then did he avoid the situation of being submerged in sand to death. Gaara, who was standing there, stared blankly at Sasuke who burst out with a strange green chakra in front of him. At the same time, looking at the red skin on Sasuke's body, puffs of heat continued to emerge. This is that time. That Konoha ninja's jutsu. 8th gate. Dunjia. Why would Sasuke use someone else's technique? Gaara had no time to think about this question now. Because Sasuke had already taken a step forward, without relying on any ninjutsu, and directly rushed towards him with pure physical explosive power. The tailed beast chakra mode is activated instantly, and a red tail gathers behind it. Gaara now seems to have become more and more used to the feeling of controlling the tail beast chakra. Instant burst chakra controlled the sand under his feet for a moment in the blink of an eye, forming layers of sand walls. However, Sasuke didn't have the slightest idea of backing away, or avoiding it. Instead, it continued to rush towards him, punch. Directly and fiercely bombarded on the sand wall blocking the way. The steam on Sasuke's fist was still bubbling, but at this moment, the chakra in his body gathered rapidly. Chakra erupts, strange power fist. The moment they touched it, there was no time for the roar to sound, and the sand wall was instantly smashed. Sasuke breaks through 5-6 paths sand walls in a row, and his speed remains unabated. Then when the last sand wall was broken, at this time, the roar sounded belatedly. Gaara's eyes trembled crazily. What a terrifying power. Even more amazing than the previous power. Shocked by Sasuke's terrifying power, Gaara didn't just stand there in a daze. A sand wall with the seal of guarding the crane quickly formed in front of him. This time it was accompanied by a violent roar. Although the sand wall cracked, it was not completely broken by Sasuke. Sasuke froze for a moment and blocked it. It was actually able to block his own blow in the 5th gate state, and it was also the 8 inner gates used in conjunction with the Senju family's strange power. Shukaku's defense is indeed unique in the ninja world. Although it is a one-tailed tail beast, it should not be underestimated. But he could block one punch, but he couldn't block his second punch. The second punch was struck instantly. The sand wall crumbled completely. But at this time, Gaara has already taken advantage of this gap to distance himself from Sasuke again. Want to run? I won't let you run away. Sand-bound coffin. Although the amount of sand that swept over was still large, Sasuke was just one kick. The sand exploded instantly. The strange power combined with the 8 inner gates is still in the 5th gate state. The power is not generally terrible. Sasuke continuously jumps, accelerates, and accelerates again. Although the speed is not as fast as lightning, it is not too slow. But Gaara couldn't catch Sasuke's figure with naked eyes, so he used the old method again. Directly controlling the sand formed a layer after layer of defense for himself. The sandball was formed before Sasuke attacked Gaara, and by the way, Shukaku's curse mark was superimposed to raise the defense to another level. Boom boom boom. Sasuke punched continuously, and the fists fell down like raindrops. But there is no way to break the sandball in front of him. Bombardment came wave after wave, and although the maracas would counterattack, Sasuke was too fast for him to keep up. Although Gaara is fine now, she is very disturbed in her heart. Unexpectedly, under such circumstances, Sasuke could not be sealed, and then his situation would be bad. And Sasuke is also very surprised now. They have opened the 5th gate, and there is no way to break the turtle shell. With the addition of strange power, every punch is comparable to the power of S-level ninjutsu. The defense formed by Gaara with the help of Shuhei chakra is indeed very good. Why isn't this guy dead yet? Even the attack just now can't defeat him. What a terrible power. Gaara's sand can't do anything to him. Fortunately, this guy doesn't seem to be able to break through Gaara's defense. Sand shinobi's hearts are hanging again now. This is going to be difficult. This Uchiha brat, the power just now is so strong. But fortunately, it seems that he can't break through Gaara's defense, so he can delay a little time and find a way to defeat this guy. However, this sand shinobi just finished. Sasuke's voice sounded. It's such a hard shell. It can't be broken. Gaara was relieved to hear Sasuke say that. Shuhei also smiled proudly. Huh. This arrogant guy. Dare to come to Sanagakure alone to find you. Do you really think I am a vegetarian? My defense will not be broken casually. Gaara, don't worry. You have my uncle covering you. You don't have to be afraid of his attack at all. You just need to find a chance to catch this guy, since you can't seal it. Then let's play a big game and use the entire desert to bury this kid directly. I'll start preparing now. Your wife will find a way to catch him. Gaara nodded silently. Although the plan was good, he always felt that the next thing might not develop as he believed. Since the 5th gate can't be broken, let's open it again. Plus, both Gaara and Shuhei were stunned. This kid. Does he still want to open 8 inner gates? 8 inner gates, 6th gate. Jingman. Open. Boom. With the opening of the 6th gate, the strong chakra fluctuations erupted directly, and the airflow caused by it turned into substantial ripples and swept towards the surroundings in an instant. Sasuke clenches his fists. Feel the power in the body explode again, entering a new level. With the strength and speed of Sasuke's light fist punch, it is enough to rub to form a flame. However, Sasuke does not intend to use the taijutsu of the sixth gate and Jingmun, facing the peacock. Because the power of this move is too scattered, it is even more impossible to break through Gaara's defense. Sasuke still only uses monster power. With the blessing of the sixth gate, Jingmun, a strange power burst out. What an amazing burst of power it will be. Now even Sasuke is looking forward to it. Gaara. Try again now to see whether your shell is hard or my fist is hard. The moment the voice fell, Sasuke's figure shot out like a cannonball. Even the air trembled suddenly. Air. The rapid breaking wind sounded, but at the same time, the roar also sounded. The punch directly hit Gaara's sandball defense at an unimaginable speed. This time, a trace of blood spilled slightly from the corner of Sasuke's mouth. It wasn't Gaara's attack that hurt Sasuke, but, in the sixth gate state, Sasuke forcibly exploded with strange power. Chakra, who burst out at this moment, even Sasuke, feels a little too much. At the same time, the chakra flow in the body is running wild like a wild horse. It also made Sasuke's Muji self-healing impossible to activate at all. The injured internal organs made Sasuke feel that it might be impossible to throw a second punch. Punch. The strange power when the sixth gate is open, punch. One strike. The power that erupted was astonishing. The wind blown by violent force is a storm beyond compare. Just to aftermath, the ground around it suddenly cracked open. Under the berserk power, Gaara's defense instantly collapsed. The scattered sand flew in all directions, and at the same time, the force directly penetrated the sand ball and bombarded Gaara's chest fiercely. If it wasn't for Shohei's quick response, concentrate all chakra to resist. I'm afraid Gaara is dead with this blow. However, even though one life was recovered, Gaara still spurted out a mouthful of blood in the next second, and then his body flew backwards like a cannonball. Bang bang bang. Crashing down one house after another. Gaara flew 100 meters away in an instant, and flew directly to another place in Sanagakure. And within the range of 20 meters around Sasuke, the ground directly cracked open, turning into countless tiny gravels, which exploded continuously. At this moment, Sasuke put away his fist, keeping the sixth gate half open. Swallowing back the blood in his throat. Now he can't act like he is injured, otherwise these sand shinobi will rush forward. It will also make Sasuke spend a lot of effort to cope. It is very troublesome. The surrounding sand shinobi didn't dare to move at all, and they didn't even dare to take a breath. It seemed that he was worried that if he breathed out a little more, he would startle Sasuke, so that Sasuke would stare at him and kill him instantly with a single punch. Even if it's a casual punch, these sand shinobi dare not take it. Watch the power of Sasuke's punch. Such a fist, is it possible for a person to block it? If hit by such a fist, I am afraid that it will turn into a cloud of blood mist in an instant. Not even a dead body can be left behind. Drops of cold sweat roll down the foreheads of these people. However, Sasuke has no time to ignore them now, and Sasuke's goal is still locked on Gaara. Feeling Gaara's breath become weaker, Sasuke also breathed a sigh of relief. This way it doesn't take much effort. Sasuke looked up at the huge sand barrier blocking the entire Sanagakure above. It has not been lifted at all, which means that Gaara has not completely lost consciousness. Not bad. Resisted a strange punch from my sixth gate state. Is Gaara so resistant to beating? While Sasuke was talking, suddenly a more violent chakra wave broke out. Sourced from One-Tail Shuhei. Boom boom boom. Sasuke frowned, and the huge figure of One-Tail Shuhei slowly condensed in the distance. The surrounding sand is constantly gathering in the direction of Shuhei. In the blink of an eye, One-Tail Shuhei completely appeared in front of everyone. Sasuke sighed helplessly. Sure enough, it's still not that easy to get. Bastard. Damn. Uchiha's brat. How dare you do this to me? I'm going to show you today what the power of a tailed beast is. It's simply not comparable to you humans. Boom boom boom. Suddenly Shukaku opened his mouth, and frantically released wind style to practice empty bullets. This technique is actually equivalent to a compressed air cannon. This is the real air cannon. The power is astonishing. It seems that Shuzuru is controlling the body now, and he has no worries at all and doesn't even consider the problem of accidentally injuring Sand Shinobi. It just wants to kill Sasuke now. However, dodging these attacks with Sasuke's speed is too easy, but it spreads to many Sand Shinobi. There was a scream. Sasuke quickly approached in the direction of Shuzuru. Almost in the blink of an eye, he rushed to a position less than 10 meters away from Shuhei. Shuzuru looked at Sasuke, who was coming straight towards him, and seemed to be a little scared, so he quickly distanced himself from Sasuke. At the same time, with a wave of both hands, it directly turned into a large amount of sand, forming a wave and sweeping towards Sasuke. At this moment, Sasuke slowly grabbed the Kusanagi sword at his waist. Now, Sasuke no longer has the energy to control chakra in the 6th gate state to exert his strange power. If you use Sage mode, it is no problem to firmly suppress Shukaku. But Sasuke now wants to silence the rowdy guy. I hope to use the most simple and direct method to make Shuhei shut up forever. He no longer dared to roar in front of himself. It is indeed difficult to actively control chakra in the 6th gate state. Accidentally, like now, I hurt myself. But if it is passively controlled, it will be different. Sasuke also suddenly thought of it. If 8 inner gates, plus Breath of Thunder. What kind of power will it unleash? The ninjutsu that was once evaluated by Jiraiya as not weaker than 8 inner gates, Breath of Thunder. So naturally it can be regarded as a taboo gymnastics. And now, Sasuke is planning a forbidden ninjutsu duo. ZZZ. Lightning flows on the Kusanagi sword. This is not what lightning style Sasuke actively uses. Kusanagi sword has begun to change after being fed by Sasuke's lightning style chakra during this period. It can be called a real ninja knife, and it is also a ninja knife specializing in lightning style. It can automatically transform chakra into a thunderbolt with a certain power. Seeing the flashing white lightning, Sasuke exhaled lightly. Thunder breath. One type. Following Sasuke's breath of thunder, the lightning that overflowed in this instant turned out to be black lightning style. Sasuke's eyes narrowed slightly. If it was the black lightning style, then the power of Thunder's breath would have to be raised to another level. A flash of thunder. The black thunder flashed out again. At the same time, the eyes of Shuhei, who controls the sand, are also shrinking rapidly. The bastard is going to use that terrible speed again. Not good. ZZZ. The black thunder instantly magnified in Shohei's eyes. At the same time, Shuhei felt the pain, severe pain from the body being cut. Big. Jung. The blade of the black thunder flashed across the air. Although it is black lightning, it contains a trace of white light. Watching a series of black mines erupt in the sky, stretching from Sasuke's position to the edge of Sanagakure. Along the way, countless houses were pierced through in an instant, split into 2. At the same time, a trail formed by lightning was left on the ground. Bang bang. When the lightning struck the sand barrier that closed the entire Sanagakure, a crack burst out directly. The roar echoed throughout Sanagakure, and at this very moment, countless sand shinobi stared at Shuzuru in front of them dumbfounded. Because, on Shuhei's shoulder, there was a deep wound. So much so that Shuhei's right arm was almost on the verge of falling off. The wound was still surrounded by black thunder, which seemed to be preventing Shuhei from recovering. Damn. Damn. It hurts. It hurts. Uchiha's little devil, my uncle. Absolutely. Absolutely. We'll never let you go. Shuhei roared. The roar shook the sky. However, Sasuke didn't care at all. Instead he looked at the Kusanagi sword in his hand with great excitement. Of course, it wasn't because of the Kusanagi sword that he was so excited, but because of the breath of thunder, combined with the effect of the 8 inner gates. Sasuke hadn't expected it at all. Not only is it extraordinarily smooth, but even with the help of the effect of the breath of thunder, it allows Sasuke to activate the 8 inner gates state. The flow of chakra in the body seems to be moving closer to the breath of thunder. This way of adjusting chakra through breathing, controlling chakra, and attacking seems like a natural fit for 8 inner gates. The chemical reaction formed by the fusion of the 2 physical arts is not just that. Now Sasuke doesn't have the time to feel it carefully. The most urgent thing is to directly solve Shuzuru. His body is almost reaching its limit. If it weren't for forcibly using the strange power fist for a while, his body would have suffered a lot of damage. Now, have to speed up a bit. Turn around and look back. Sasuke's current position is less than 30 meters behind Shuzuru. The black thunder all around seemed to gather towards Sasuke autonomously at the moment Sasuke's breathing changed. Call. He let out a long breath. Accompanied by Sasuke's light breathing, at the same time, the black thunder on his body burst into an astonishing roar again. Sand shinobi who haven't recovered from the last blow. He looked behind Shukaku. Can't see Sasuke's people. But he could see the thick black thunder snake flashing in the sky. One after another black lightning, like the branches and buds of a tree, constantly expands and spreads and grows. Almost in an instant, the sky above half of Sanagakure was completely occupied. And heard the roar of thunder and lightning coming from behind. Shuhei didn't care about his own injuries and suddenly turned around. Looking behind, Under that thunder and lightning, Sasuke's Kusanagi sword is ready to go. At this moment, Shuhei's face changed drastically, and again. This kid. Doesn't he need to take a breath? Isn't Sasuke panting right now? Thunder breath. 1 type. Thunderbolt flash. 8 companies. Look up and open your eyes. Mangekyo Sharingan locked onto Shukaku's body. At this moment, Sasuke's voice sounded. The final blow. Keep the crane. Feel it well, this will be a blow you will never forget. Clang. Long sword unsheathed. Thunder flashes, light shines. The black thunder erupted and pierced through Shohei's body in an instant. The roaring thunder exploded, but it was too late to come out. And the next thunderlight broke out again. The sand barrier above Sanagakure was torn apart with ease. At this moment, countless sand shinobi seemed to be unable to breathe. Eyes opened tightly, staring at the Skymaster. Road. Continue. The flickering black thunder. When the black lightning mixed with white light flashed 8 times in a row. At this evil moment, they heard a series of dense thunder roaring like the roar of hell. The moment Sasuke stopped, the position was right in front of the ninja people. Looking at Sasuke, who has a little black thunder remaining on his body and is slowly withdrawing his knife. At this moment, 8 black thunderbolts suddenly burst out behind him, like extremely sharp laser rays. Directly tore 8 wounds on Shuhei's body. Accompanied by these black lasers, Shuhei's body of sand dissipated directly in front of everyone's eyes. The huge sand barrier also collapsed. A large amount of sand fell and almost submerged half of Sanagakure, and only half of the buildings, with enough height, were not buried by a large amount of sand. And the sand shinobi emerged from the sand one by one. Big mouthfuls of fresh air now. Sasuke grabbed Gaara, who was completely unconscious, with one hand. His face was pale, and there was a hint of freshness at the corner of his mouth. It looked as if he had exhausted his stamina. However, Sasuke's complexion gradually began to turn rosy, and his breathing gradually returned to normal. After ending the state of 8 inner gates, Sasuke directly activated Muji healing. While recovering quickly from the injury, the consumed chakra is also recovering rapidly. Although a little tired mentally, but the state has almost recovered. But if you turn on 8 inner gates, Sasuke doesn't have so much energy. Now is the time to leave. Sasuke grabbed Gaara and glanced around at sand shinobi who crawled out of the sand. Turning around, he planned to leave Sanagakure so slowly. Seeing that Sasuke was leaving, sand shinobi breathed a sigh of relief, but clenched their fists tightly. Is it just watching the other party take Gaara away so swaggeringly? Take them Sanagakure's Jinchuriki. But Sasuke's strength is not something they can stop. Even the tailed beast was almost hacked to death by this guy. And it seems that Sasuke has recovered very quickly, going up at this time is simply courting death. But, as sand shinobi, is it just watching Jinchuriki being taken away? No. To stop him, quite a few sand shinobi seemed to be plucking up the courage to make a move. Suddenly there was a scream, and a sand shinobi was kicked back directly. At the same time, another footstep sounded. Master Zuo, are you alright? Anyone else? Looking in the direction of the speaker, the other party is holding a Jonin who is one of the best in sand shinobi, but at the moment the situation of this Jonin is terrible. It was caught in the opponent's hand like a dead dog, and it was thrown aside casually. The vigorous chakra wave radiates from the opponent's body. The aura was exactly the same as when they touched their own Lord 4th cage. Another cage-level ninja. Sasuke threw the Gaara in his hand to Kimimaro. I'm fine, Jinchuriki is here, we can go. Yes. Kimimaro carried Gaara on his shoulders, and Sasuke walked slowly towards the outside of Sanagakure. But the sand shinobi who stood still didn't have the courage to make a move in the end. In other words, the courage they had just mustered up, but because of the sudden appearance of Kimimaro, their courage dissipated in an instant.